For more on the latest air travel challenges that flyers may face this holiday weekend, let's bring in National Air Traffic Controllers Association President Nick Daniels. Nick, welcome.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you having me.
Congratulations on your election, too.
Thank you very much. It's been a trying time, but honored to be here, honored to serve.
What do you want folks at home who are traveling this holiday season as we head into the summer travel months to know about the men and women who are in the towers trying to make sure we get to our destinations safely?
Understand it right now, we're at an all-time low for air traffic control staffing. We should have 14,663 controllers. We're only operating with 10,800 nationwide out of 313 facilities. Making up over 3,600 controller deficit. We're working 6-day work weeks, many times 60 hours inside that week, only 4 days off in a month. Yet every single controller, while it's probably an all-time low for morale, continues to be proud of the job that we do step up, and that's why we're proud to partner with Secretary Duffy, this administration, and find the ways forward during a time that America needs us to step up and have solutions, not just problems.
You work at a DFW airport, an incredibly busy airport, Dallas-Fort Worth. What's the impact of the shortage in terms of what you've seen on the job and what you're hearing from colleagues?
Number one is fatigue, morale. Those issues are prevalent throughout our entire industry. However, that's where it becomes important for leaders to stand up and find ways through that right now. Partnering with Secretary Duffy, he said it well, that we inherited this situation, but we're going to find our way through it together over the next 3 to 4 years. It's not only recruiting the best and brightest, but that's why we support the supercharge of hiring, but it's incentivizing those who have done the job for this long and continue to do the job. Great step one was keeping those around instead of retiring, and saying, we want to incentivize you to stay and train that next generation of air traffic control. This is going to be a long-term commitment. There's no flip of a switch. There's no overnight solution. It is going to be a commitment to working together to get out of this over the next 3 to 4 years. And with the proper investment that the T&I committee put up of $12.5 billion, that's a great start. But then we have to look at the workforce in its totality and make sure that they're in a good place, mentally prepared and ready for this innovation to come forward.
There was a crash of a private plane in San Diego on Thursday. I want to play for you what one of the investigators had to say about it. I'll get you to react to it.
Absolutely.
The pilot did not report any problems to air traffic control, and he did not declare an emergency. We have determined that the automated surface observing system, which provides airport weather conditions to pilots, was inoperative at the Montgomery Airport at the time of the accident due to an unrelated power surge.
I realize you're not investigating this, but in your view, from what you hear there, is that aging equipment or just a bad coincidence of events?
I think anything that we can do. Aviation is one of the most high-risk situations. While it's the safest mode of transportation, we have to all be perfect and everything has to be working. And that's the importance of this investment in our system right now. While those are unfortunate situations in every air traffic control in the country, we've been out there for the last decade raising the alarm about our staffing, about modernization, about the equipment, so that way we can actually ensure that if there's a 0.001% chance of a plane being saved, that it happens and that everybody that departs lands safely day in and day out. And that's why we're going to continue working with this administration to find answers to this and the money that's needed to bring the system up to date.
You made an interesting point about how safe air travel is. Obviously, when there's a mishap or a tragedy, that gets tremendous attention, but the vast majority of us come and go to our various places, our destinations, quite safely, right?
Air traffic controllers are usually not in the news until something bad happens. Now, we do need to change that. The hardworking men and women of this job continue day in and day out, and you'll see it through this Memorial Day weekend, some of the highest travel in the entire world. And yet, it's everybody being called in on their time off to ensure that happens. Again, we're proud of the job that we do, but the air traffic controllers need to see that investment and the support in their future as well. That this isn't going to be their forever life, their career for the next 20, 25, or even 30 years, working short-staffed with outdated equipment. It's time for the investment. It's time for the action, not studies and reports. And the American people need it, and they deserve it.
Let's talk about that, about Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy's efforts to modernize the system. Your take on it.
Secretary Duffy has come in and got up to speed extremely quick. He saw the problems. He didn't sit back and he didn't say, let's try to figure it out. Maybe we could piecemeal this system together. Because that's how we're in the state that we are right now, is stop and go funding, only buying 30 of something when we need 200 of something. He has come in and said, not only does he want to supercharge the hiring, and we absolutely partner with him on that, but we need to invest in the air traffic controllers because they deserve this equipment. The air traffic controllers of Philadelphia Area C that sometimes are working with 1 and 2 persons where they should have 12 or 14 on a shift to run planes in and out of Newark. Not only the flying public doesn't deserve that, the air traffic controllers who have to be perfect every single day, they don't deserve that. So we absolutely are impressed by his willingness to stand up for what's right and not hold back on what's needed for the future. And we'll be right there with him every step of the way.
And briefly, have you heard from Capitol Hill that you will get the resources to make that happen?
I will say that there is the highest commitment that I've ever seen in my 25-year career to actual change, not just giving it, some level of, well, we'll do a little bit of a Band-Aid fix to a situation that needs a lot more than a Band-Aid. It needs a complete overhaul.
Nick Daniels, pleasure meeting you. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.